Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President and Executive Director of the National Building Museum, Eileen Fuchs.
Hello. Hello and welcome. Welcome tonight. I'm Eileen Fuchs. I'm the President and Executive Director of the National Building Museum, and I am delighted to welcome you all here tonight as we celebrate the museum's 35th annual gala and our 2022 Honor Award recipient, Arup. I'm going to talk for a long time. You don't have to clap all the time. It's okay. So standing here as I look out across this room amongst our greatest friends and supporters and industry experts, it's just amazing to take you all in. Looking festive in your summer chic attire, you're killing it, amid the majesty of this great, storied, great hall. This moment means so much to me. This is the first time we are back in person for this incredible event in 3 years. 3 years. And this is my first in-person gala at the helm of the museum. And together we are ushering in a new era, a new time, and it feels so good to be on this stage in front of you all. And this resilient museum is back to doing what it does best, welcoming visitors of all ages to experience stories about the built world and its power to shape our lives, our communities, and our future, a mission that has never been more relevant. Your support here tonight is making the work, our mission, possible. Museums have the unique power to engage, educate, and enlighten. They are an important part of our community fabric, bringing together many different groups and creating a forum for discussion and engagement. Museums are among our most treasured institutions. They not only display unique objects, but they also invite us to explore and discuss the most critical issues of our time. I believe the process of addressing key social issues transforms how we see the future. To best position ourselves for the future, the National Building Museum has a new vision for impact based on our 4 institutional pillars of equity, environment, innovation, and wonder. Here at the National Building Museum, we believe in equity, that design and construction are powerful tools and forces that can connect people to opportunity and empower communities to thrive. We believe in protecting our environment, that sustainability is a guiding principle of all great design and development. We believe that climate change is real and that achieving net zero carbon emissions is an urgent priority. Yes. We believe in innovation, that great design improves lives and sparks joy. And we believe in wonder, that experiential learning begins with wonder and inspiration, the intersection of imagination, curiosity, discovery, playfulness, and awe. Through our commitment to equity, we enlighten and empower. Through our focus on sustainability and climate, we educate, influence, and contribute to solutions. Through our passion for innovation and high design, we inspire innovative thinking and incubate the innovators of tomorrow. And by embracing wonder, we spark joy and invite the world to dream with us. And by being here tonight, you are taking an active role in helping us tell the powerful stories that inspire and evoke change, that promote better understanding, that foster much-needed dialogue, and perhaps most importantly, that ignite a curiosity to learn more and to do more. Our new pillars and their impact are captured here in a short and sweet little trailer for the museum. Let's take a look. Thank you for letting me share a little bit more about this national treasure that I'm so proud to lead. And tonight, as you know, we are gathered for two reasons, not just to celebrate and support the National Building Museum, but we are also here to recognize our exemplary honoree, Arup. They are joining a prestigious list of previous honor award recipients, including Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan, the Rockefeller family, Lady Bird Johnson, and the Walt Disney Company, to name a few. We intentionally selected Arup as our honoree because their work embodies each of our pillars, and it is exactly this shared vision for the future that makes this year's celebration so exciting. Arup has encouraged the museum to think about sustainability in every facet of this event, from the menu, which is featuring locally sourced fish and produce, to our lack of paper being used. You'll see a QR code on your table's number. Scan that to access the evening's digital program. I'd also like to note that our table numbers are seed paper, and we invite you to take them home, plant them, and they'll grow wildflowers. The entire evening has been intentionally curated to be as green as we possibly can be. Our work here matters. The incredible things that Arup is achieving around the globe matters. You being here matters, and we are so happy to have you all part of this special evening, especially as we position ourselves for an extremely vibrant future. So to continue our welcome and appreciation, I would like to now introduce the Chairman of the Board of the Trustees for the National Building Museum, Tony Greenberg.
Thank you, Eileen. We are really fortunate to have her at the helm, but what a tough act to follow. I don't have pillars, I don't have lights, I don't have flowers, seed paper. I just have some very short remarks to thank many of the folks who made this possible. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees of the National Building Museum, thank you all for being here, for supporting us. It is really wonderful to have you here and welcome you back to this amazing space after so many years. We were established by a congressional charter in 1980, simultaneously creating a museum for the building arts and saving this incredible building from destruction. Since first opening our doors, we have told stories for visitors of all ages about the world we build, changing our perceptions of the structures and spaces we experience daily. It is a privilege to serve as chair of this national treasure and to help lead the charge, solidifying our place as thought leader, policy influencer, industry and community convener well into the future. The annual Gala is our biggest fundraiser of the year, raising significant funds to support our operations and our acclaimed programs and exhibitions. I'm pleased to report that we've surpassed our fundraising goals for tonight's Gala, helping She's also a lot taller than I am. Helping to ensure the future success of the museum. This is all thanks to you and your generous support. First, I'd like to recognize my colleagues on the National Museum Board of Trustees. Your steadfast commitment to the museum is extraordinary. We are emerging triumphantly from such unprecedented times, and your support has never wavered. Thank you for your leadership and generosity. It is such a pleasure to serve with you. Would all of the trustees please stand? Pretty good, and before I let you all sit down, or as you sit down, I do want to thank Camilo Garcia, our development committee chair. He may be here. I don't know if he made it. He was stuck in Boston. But this event represents a huge effort on his part. And as well, I'd like to recognize all the members of the development committee for their hard work and in convincing all of you to buy tables tonight. Thank you. Tonight's extraordinary success has been propelled by our meaningful partnerships with our federal and local government. We are grateful to have the support of Charles Allen, DC Council Member for Ward 6. There he is. John Falchicchio, Deputy Mayor of Planning and Economic Development. Tommy Wells, Director of Energy and Environment, and they're all here with us tonight. And finally, I would like to acknowledge and thank this evening's major sponsors. First, I would like to thank Arup, tonight's honoree. We're going to clap for Arup maybe 10 more times tonight, but they deserve it. We appreciate your longstanding commitment to the National Building Museum. You have been a steadfast partner, and it is such a pleasure to be here tonight to celebrate with you. I would also like to acknowledge Whiting Turner. Thank you for support as tonight's cocktail reception sponsor. Your continued friendship and generosity towards the museum is greatly appreciated. And finally, please join me in thanking Amazon, tonight's Presenting Plus sponsor. You are a true champion of this institution, and this evening would not have been possible without you. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to invite Brian Huzman, Vice President of Public Policy for Amazon, to say a few words.
Thank you, Tony. As he said, I'm Brian Huzman, Amazon's Vice President of Public Policy. I also serve on the Board of Trustees of the museum. We're so excited to be able to sponsor tonight's gala. I'm in awe of Eileen's leadership as well as the museum's effort to inspire curiosity about the world we design and build. And we're also glad to support Arup as they receive the annual Honors Award for their more than 7 decades of creativity dedicated to shaping a better world. And some of you may be familiar with Amazon's Spheres in our Seattle headquarters. It's a special place where our employees can work or unwind while immersed in nature. And Arup's work is close to home for us. They designed the understory of the Spheres, a flexible exhibit space for our employees in the local community. But here in this area, just kind of nearby, we're building our second headquarters in Arlington that we call our HQ2. And from the very beginning of HQ2, we've committed to building an inviting space that benefits our employees as well as the entire community in this area through our focus on nature, sustainability, and being a good neighbor. In HQ2, we challenged ourselves to think big and design Amazon's building that can help lead the industry towards a net zero carbon solution. And so we've electrified the operations of HQ2, eliminating the use of fossil fuels for buildings, systems, and our food services. We've committed to powering 100% of HQ2's operations with renewable energy through a combination of off-site and on-site solar projects with Amazon's climate pledge, which is our commitment to be net zero carbon by 2040. So we're very grateful for the partnership with the National Building Museum. I'd like to congratulate Arup on the Honor Award. And with that, I'm going to leave you with a sneak peek at what's to come over in HQ2. Thank you and enjoy the evening.
When we were meeting with Jeff, talking about HQ2, he said to me then, he goes, John, I really want to make it difficult. I really want it to be something that is so unique and has never been done before. And it's just like raise the bar and just dig in and do it. One thing that I'm really excited about for HQ2 is that it enables us to take our climate pledge to a whole new level. We want it to be vibrant, and we want it to be a destination. We want it to be something that the community at large can be proud of.
Brian, thank you. And thank you to Amazon. Your support as our Presenting Plus sponsor means a great deal to the entire institution, and we are so pleased to have you with us tonight. It's been an incredible evening thus far. We have a lot more to celebrate. Please enjoy your dinner, and soon to follow will be the Honor Award presentation. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage Eileen Fuchs.
All right. Welcome back. We're back. Act 2. Act 2 of 12. I'm just kidding. Okay. So now on to our much anticipated honor award portion of the evening. In 1986, the National Building Museum created the annual Honor Award to recognize those who have made important transformational contributions to our nation's built environment. Recipients are chosen from a wide variety of backgrounds, illuminating the many fields that impact the built environment. Individually, each recipient is exceptional. Collectively, their legacy is profound. I am pleased to recognize several former Honor Award recipients represented here in this room this evening. Our most recent honoree, SOM, joined by Brookfield, Clark, I saw Clark over there, Clark Construction Group, CoStar Group, Davis Construction, there he is, Jim Davis in the back, woo! Hines, JBG Smith, Perkins and Will, I see, oh, there they are. Studios Architecture, holla. Turner Construction, Urban Land Institute, and the U.S. Green Buildings Council. Woo! All right. As you can tell, this award has a deep, rich history that you will see in the following story.
In 1986, the National Building Museum bestowed the first honor award on J. Irwin Miller. An industrialist, civil rights leader, and patron of modern architecture, he believed in the power of buildings to transform his hometown. 3 years later, the museum honored Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan, a fierce advocate for the importance of good design of our civic spaces and one of the founders of the museum. For its first few awardees, the fledgling museum had established a precedent that continues to this day of honoring the people and institutions that have defined our culture, developed our communities, and crafted our built environment. Major League Baseball and the National Football League were honored for their investments in America's downtowns. Over the past 4 decades, our awardees have come from every sector of the building arts and sciences. We honored the U.S. Green Building Council, a nonprofit that has accelerated the adoption of sustainable building technology. As our collective appreciation of the power of the built environment to address society's most urgent needs has progressed, the diversity of our awardees has expanded along with it. Along with CoStar and Davis Construction, we also honored the work of Casey Trees, a community-based nonprofit that has almost single-handedly maintained our capital region's tree canopy. In 2022, we recognized the global consulting firm Arup. Working at the forefront of innovative design and engineering for over 75 years, Arup is dedicated to shaping a better world through sustainable development, providing solutions that better equip humanity to meet the urgent challenges of climate change, social inequity, and biodiversity loss. Arup is defining the future of the built environment. With 17,000 global members, Arup collaborates with public and private clients, institutions, policymakers, and nonprofit organizations to advance the vital work of realizing a sustainable and equitable net zero future. The time to act is now.
This evening, the museum is recognizing Arup. For over 75 years, Arup has been at the forefront of the most ambitious and challenging design and engineering projects, bringing vision to life. Arup strives to shape a more sustainable and equitable world through the exceptional delivery of impactful total design solutions that usher in a net zero future. Creating sustainable futures is at the heart of Arup's purpose. Arup recognizes that creating real sustainable development requires combined economic, social, and environmental transformation on a global scale. The firm's leadership and contribution to making this transformation reality is through exemplary built environment projects that make a lasting and positive difference for all. We are extremely pleased to be passing the legacy of this award on to Arup and would like to invite you to turn your attention to the screen for a video about this year's well-deserved honoree.
Ove was a philosopher who became an engineer. What he originally articulated as the aims of the firm, we've adopted as our values.
Quality of work. Total architecture.
Humane organization.
Straight and honorable dealings.
Social usefulness.
Reasonable prosperity of members.
When Arup started in 1946, the conventional way of working was that the architect and the engineer and the builder didn't actually work together. The architect had the ideas, the engineer then made them work, and then the builder then built them in a sort of sequential fashion. Ove brought the idea that actually if we all talk to each other, we can do better.
Social responsibility is part of the purpose that we think we need to do things. So we don't just employ clever engineers working on clever projects. There has to be a reason. What is the purpose for this? Why are we doing it?
One of the things that we do is in the emerging economies, working with clients that range from the World Bank to local NGOs. That's quite unusual for a commercial firm.
I think it's a natural kind of evolution of the firm that we went from thinking about a building to the built environment to the communities and the environments in which we work.
We urgently need to think about the future of our cities where people can live in freedom, justice, and dignity.
Of all the engineering wonders and technology advancement in the world, at the end, the ultimate goal is to build for the people.
The environment in which we live and work has become increasingly complex. And whether that is the advance of digital and technology, or our concerns with climate change, or our concerns about the disparities in people's living conditions, the challenges are increasing. And therefore the complexity is increasing.
We are thinking all the time about the impact of what we're doing on society and on the planet.
Shaping a better world and focusing on sustainable development means that we need to think about not just new development, but how do we retrofit and reshape our buildings and our cities and our communities so that they can be more socially equitable, more productive economically, but also more sustainable in the long term.
I think it's really exciting to think about co-benefits of climate action and ensuring that they flow to the communities that have been historically left out and underserved.
It will be great to see Arup as the leading sustainable consultancy sector, where buildings and infrastructure can grow hand in hand with nature and society without imposing any harm.
The premise of total design is that you have to collaborate to solve the most complex problems. Nobody knows all the answers.
We keep shaping the world to become better. No one given us an answer, but we have to do it all together to find a better world.
Please join me now in welcoming Uwe Brandes, Professor of the Practice, Georgetown University, and Faculty Director, Georgetown Global Cities Initiative. He also serves as the chair of the DC Commission on Climate Change and Resiliency.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to see so many friends and colleagues here tonight. It's so wonderful to be back in this room. When I walked into the room this afternoon and saw all the tables set up, I just knew it was going to be an amazing evening. So thank you for everyone for being here tonight. For those of you who are curious, the names Ove, Uwe, and Owen are all the same expressions of the same Northern European name. I don't think that's why the National Building Museum asked me to say a few words tonight, at least I hope not. I'd like to thank the National Building Museum for this opportunity to share a few personal reflections on the 2022 Honor Award to Arup. Before I start, I'd like to congratulate Eileen on her leadership as the 5th director of the museum. Thank you. I'm extremely heartened to see the rollout of the Climate ABC program at the museum as one of the first steps that you've taken, Eileen, and I look forward to your stewardship of the museum as you engage in the local, national, and global stakeholders that the museum engages every single day. All of us can easily agree that the National Building Museum is a very special institution in our city and has a curatorial voice that is really unique in Washington. I'd like to compliment the video that you just saw and offer just a few brief reflections on the significance that Arup has brought to our larger community associated with the built environment. And first, I'd like to just say that as we reconcile the tremendous changes that all of us in this room have been through over the last 2 years, I think it's wholly appropriate that the award is being given to a firm and not to an individual. To me, this itself is a recognition of the value and significance of the professional collaboration and value of exemplary professional practice that Arup is so well known for. In fact, I think that Arup has elevated these attributes as a driver of the firm's brand and has not only signaled the firm's own values, but has exemplified these values in a manner that has been transformative for all of us, the broader communities of professional practice whose work produces the built environment. I graduated from architecture school in 1995, and it was the same year that the very important architectural historian Kenneth Frampton published his book called Studies in Tectonic Culture, which is a little ethereal and theoretical for those of you who are not architects, but all of the architects in the room know what I'm talking about here. In retrospect, this was such an important moment in the evolution of architectural design and discourse. It was a moment where architectural design regained the confidence to embrace the craft of construction and embrace a building's structural engineering and design as an expression of its meaning. I think we can understand that Ove Arup's personal legacy of having this impact, not only on the creation of iconic buildings like the Sydney Opera House, but in the legacy of collaboration between architects and structural engineers that we just heard about in the video, is really kind of central to the innovation that's happened in architectural practice since the 1990s. The idea of design collaboration and open dialogue between architects and engineers was most definitely not being taught in architectural schools. But in my own personal first years of practice, practicing in New York, it was one of the most exciting insights that I observed when Arup opened his office in New York in the mid-1990s and brought with them an extraordinary track record of working with very important global firms like Foster & Partners that was so inspirational to a whole new generation of architects. As an example, that designers can actually solve problems and have a positive impact on the world. My own professional interests were in the area of urban design, and I was mesmerized at the time that this structural engineering firm, or what I understood to be a structural engineering firm, was starting to win urban planning contracts across the city of New York. And I couldn't believe it. Why were these agencies hiring a firm that was known as being a structural engineer? And I remember at the time, very, very concretely, Arup won this contract to study traffic calming in downtown Brooklyn. And today, of course, we would think of this as being just kind of another normal contract that cities issue. But at the time, it was totally unprecedented. And as I understand it, no one else competed for that contract at the time. And I think this is a great example of the way in which Arup has fostered innovation and thought of its work and its own professional practice and conduct as an exercise in problem solving. For over 20 years now, Arup has, from my perspective, soberly embraced the issue of climate change and the challenge associated with it, and the need to explore and define the metrics and benchmarks of urban sustainability and certainly of architectural design. And this is a seminal moment. This idea that sustainability and climate are not just inspirations for projects, but are actually the foundation of a new era of professional practice. This is, in retrospect, such an enormous contribution to all of our professions. And whether this is exemplified through incredible projects that Arup has worked on over the years, such as the Masdar project that many of you will be familiar with, or the unbuilt but still exemplary project of the master plan for Dongtang Island off of Shanghai. These are projects that completely broke the mold and were so aspirational in their approach that have motivated and inspired so many other professionals across our fields. This thought leadership was generously shared by Arup, not only through industry associations, but important new organizations like the C40, the Green Building Councils around the world, and of course even with the United Nations, and has positioned Arup as one of the many institutions seeking to find a path forward to a more systemic approach to transforming the built environment. And now, in a contemporary sense, Arup has become a model of practice for so many other practices seeking to engage in true problem solving, which at times may even transcend the norms of traditional professional practice. Today, I'd like to imagine that this problem-solving orientation that Arup exemplifies is actually the new norm for all of us. At a moment when design needs to embrace not only value, but risk, not only occupants, but community, not only ecology, but equity, and not only the new, but the existing, we are so fortunate to have Arup as an important role model for all of us in our city-making industry. And with that, I'm delighted and honored to congratulate Arup on this important distinction, the 2022 Honor Award from the National Building Museum. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And it is now my pleasure to welcome to the stage Fiona Cousins, Arup's America's Regional Chair, Brian Sweat, Arup's America's East Leader, Anna Gradishar, Arup's DC Office Leader, and Greg Giamalvo, Arup Principal West Operations Director and Museum Trustee, to accept the National Building Museum's 2022 Honor Award.
Earlier they said that I would have to carry it, and I've been dreading that moment. I was a little disappointed earlier. I thought, I don't have a video, but I do have a video, and you have just seen it. And I really enjoyed watching it, because I haven't actually seen that cut before. But it's really a privilege to be here tonight to accept the 2022 Honor Award on behalf of Arup. Firstly, I would like to thank the National Building Museum for this, both for the honor itself and for the gift of an occasion to just pause and reflect on our progress and impact across the built environment. As you have just seen, Arup was founded in 1946 by philosopher-engineer Ove Arup on the conviction that a collaborative and expansive approach to engineering and design would lead to work of greater quality, relevance, and positive impact. For over 75 years, we have acted together with our clients and partners to push the boundaries of what design and engineering can achieve in shaping a better world. As Uwe said, who are these structural engineers? We're not just structural engineers. But what is a better world? What does a sustainable and resilient future look like now that we are, without any doubt, in the crosshairs of three related challenges: climate change, social inequity, and biodiversity, set, as ever, against the context of geopolitical conflict and economic uncertainty? It would be pretty easy in this moment to feel helpless and hopeless, but we prefer to try to rise to the challenge, using that expansive approach that Arup blessed us with, to try and find and make opportunities for bold action. For ourselves, we have committed to achieving net zero emissions across our entire operations by 2030, and probably all of you have too. But our biggest impacts are on our projects, so we're also developing whole life cycle carbon assessments for our buildings, which is a lot harder than it sounds, and we're no longer taking on energy commissions involving the extraction, refinement, or transportation of hydrocarbon-based fuels. But this is still just the start. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals are the definition of expansive and ambitious, and we're using them as a guide for the work that we're doing and the direction that we're trying to take, led by Dame Jo, who you saw up on the video at the beginning. So to make impact throughout our projects, we need everyone. Without those diverse views, we can't understand the myriad impacts of our projects or generate the ideas that allow us to design our way to a better world. And that design word, that solving problems thing, is really what we are about. So achieving these goals and pushing ourselves to see problems in their broadest context requires a steadfast focus and personal energy. And collaboration really is the best foundation for these. Arup now has over 17,000 members, compared to 1,500 when I started. And with every new discipline and every new person, it's clearer that intentional, generous collaboration across cultures, backgrounds, skills, experience, and perspectives is essential. And it's essential because we need everyone. These crises cannot be solved or met by any one of us alone. It's really heartening to be in this room tonight, surrounded by so many of our valued partners and supporters. And it will be through your vision, imagination, and continued collaboration that we can continue to shape a better world, uplifting everyone as we go. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think this is the end. Okay, thank you so much, Fiona and Arup. What an incredible, inspiring evening. Last round of applause for Arup. Let's just do it. Last one. Okay. Okay, and I'm happy to report that the night is still young. Please take your centerpieces home, and the succulents will continue to grow, reminding you of this special night. Plant your table numbers to be greeted by flowers next spring. Be assured that any centerpieces left will be donated to the local nonprofit City Blossoms, and the seed paper will be planted for pollinators at a Maryland farm. And last but not least, one second, please. Last but not least, I would like to take one moment, please, to acknowledge the talented and hardworking staff of the National Building Museum. These events take a lot of work. And while we have been planning the gala, we also, in the last 2 months alone, have opened 2 new exhibits, launched drop-in programs, opened a 5th day to the public, opened a new cafe, hosted a summit, produced so much content, and so much more. Can the team please stand and be acknowledged for your hard work? And thank you. Okay. Are you ready to continue the celebration? The after party begins now. Back to the West Court. There's dessert, there's cocktails, and live music. Thank you so much.